Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin 111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. Have you ever held a piece of history in your hands without even realizing it? Sometimes, the most powerful stories are hidden in the smallest of objects, like the coins in your pocket. Today, we're diving into one such incredible story, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 2021, featuring the historic Tuskegee Airman. While at first glance this quarter might look like any other modern coin, what lies behind its design and, in some rare cases, its value, is truly remarkable. This is more than just a coin, it's a tribute to bravery, a symbol of progress, and for some collectors, a discovery worth thousands. The Tuskegee Airman National Historic Site Quarter was the final release in the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 through 2021. And what a way to conclude the series! The reverse of the coin honors the legendary Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American military aviators in the United States Armed Forces. During a time of deep racial segregation in America, these pilots broke barriers, flew combat missions during World War II, and proved themselves as heroes not just in the skies, but in the fight for equality. Their courage and sacrifice opened the doors for future generations, and this coin proudly captures their legacy. On the reverse side of the 2021 quarter, you'll see a detailed image of a Tuskegee Airman pilot standing confidently in front of a P-51 Mustang aircraft, with the Moton Field Control Tower in the background, the training site for the airmen. Above the pilot are the inspiring words, "They fought 2 wars," referring to the battles they faced abroad in combat and at home against racial injustice. It's a striking and emotional tribute, and collectors across the world took notice immediately when this design was unveiled. Now, most of these quarters were produced for general circulation, meaning they were intended to be used in everyday transactions, spent, handed over, dropped in vending machines, and eventually forgotten. But among the millions of coins minted, a few were struck under exceptional conditions, or with unique errors that make them extremely valuable today. These rare variations are what coin collectors hunt for relentlessly. Whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or a coin struck on the wrong planchet, these tiny minting mistakes can turn an ordinary quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Another reason the Tuskegee Airman quarter holds special value is that it marks the end of a significant era in U.S. coinage. As the last design in a beloved and widely collected series, this coin serves as a bookend, a milestone for collectors who followed the America the Beautiful series from its beginning. Coins that mark endings or transitions are often seen as especially collectible because they represent change, closure, and historical context. But it's not just the design or its symbolic power that gives this coin value. For a coin to truly become a treasure, it must be in top condition, graded highly by professionals for its sharpness, clarity, and lack of blemishes. A Tuskegee Airman quarter in mint state, untouched by circulation and preserved as if frozen in time, can attract serious attention from collectors. Add to that the possibility of rare mint errors, such as a die clash, missing letters, or anomalies in the strike, and the value skyrockets. Picture this: someone unknowingly holds onto a Tuskegee Airman quarter they received as change from a convenience store in 2021. It sits in a jar or drawer for a year or two before they decide to take a closer look. Upon further inspection, they realize something's off. Maybe the strike is unusual, the finish is brilliant, or the coin lacks a mint mark altogether. After submitting the coin for professional grading and authentication, they learn they've been sitting on a rarity that collectors are desperately trying to find. What makes this all even more exciting is how accessible these coins still are. Unlike century-old coins that are nearly impossible to find without a dealer, these quarters are recent, meaning there's still a real chance of discovering one in the wild. Coin roll hunters, collectors, and even everyday people are checking their change, hoping to spot one of these elusive and valuable pieces. The thrill of the hunt, combined with the inspiring story behind the coin, makes the Tuskegee Airman quarter one of the most fascinating coins in modern U.S. history. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast just learning about the hobby, this coin is a must-know. It teaches us about perseverance, honors those who paved the way for future generations, and reminds us that history can be held in the palm of your hand. It's not just about metal and mint marks, it's about meaning, and now, let's talk value. While most of the Tuskegee Airman quarters are worth only their face value in circulation, a few extraordinary examples, those with rare errors, perfect grades, or unique features, have captured the attention of serious collectors. One such exceptional 2021 Tuskegee Airman Washington quarter dollar, due to its pristine mint state condition and unique characteristics, was valued at an incredible $46,000. Top 2. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple quarter, just 25 cents. You glance at it, maybe absent-mindedly, not realizing that what you're holding is far more than pocket change. It's a piece of American history, a tribute to a man whose voice helped reshape the conscience of a nation. The 2017 United States of America Washington quarter dollar featuring Frederick Douglass is not just another coin, it is a celebration of courage, intellect, and the ongoing journey toward justice. And in rare cases, this powerful little piece of metal has been valued at an astonishing $36,000. Let's dive into the incredible story behind this coin. In 2010, the U.S. Mint launched the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a 10-year initiative that showcased national parks and historic sites across the country. By 2017, the series brought us to Washington, D.C., home of the Frederick Douglas National Historic Site, the former home of one of the most iconic voices in American history. The quarter released in honor of Douglas is not just beautifully designed, but also rich with meaning and inspiration. The reverse of this 2017 quarter features an image of Frederick Douglass seated at a writing desk, deeply engaged in the act that helped change the world, writing. In the background is Cedar Hill, the very home where Douglass lived in the later years of his life, perched high above the Anacostia River in D.C. This depiction captures his identity not just as an orator and abolitionist, but as a thinker, writer, and human rights advocate. It's a quiet, dignified portrayal that pays tribute to a man whose pen was as powerful as any sword. What makes this coin especially appealing to collectors is not just its historical theme, but also its modern minting, which means examples of this coin in perfect condition are still being discovered. These coins were minted for circulation, meaning millions were distributed into everyday use. Yet among those millions are rare examples that stand out, coins that were struck with remarkable precision, never entered circulation, or feature minting errors that make them one of a kind. Collectors look for specific traits when identifying valuable versions of modern quarters like this one. A coin might be graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC as MS67 or higher, which means it's in mint state, showing no wear and possessing exceptional luster and sharpness. In some cases, coins are discovered with dramatic errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or even being struck on the wrong planchet. Each of these factors can turn a common coin into a major collectible. Now, why is this quarter so meaningful? Frederick Douglass was born into slavery, yet he rose to become one of the most influential voices in American history. He escaped slavery, taught himself to read and write, and used his talent for language to write autobiographies that exposed the horrors of slavery to the world. He became a leading figure in the abolitionist movement, an advisor to presidents, and a champion for civil rights long before the term even existed. His legacy continues to inspire generations, and having him featured on U.S. currency marks a significant recognition of his role in shaping the nation's identity. When you hold this quarter, you hold a symbol of progress, a reminder of where we've been and how far we've come. You hold the likeness of a man who proved that knowledge and determination could shatter even the most oppressive chains. This is why collectors and history enthusiasts alike are so drawn to this coin. It's more than a quarter, it's a tribute to resilience and transformation. As time goes on, modern commemorative quarters like the Frederick Douglass 2017 issue will become more and more important in the numismatic world. Coins like this not only tell stories, they make history tangible. With each passing year, high-grade and error-free examples become harder to find, especially those that were never circulated or that have been preserved in pristine condition. The excitement of discovering such a coin, whether in a roll of quarters from the bank or in an old collection, is what fuels the passion of coin collectors around the world. And yes, while most of these quarters are only worth their face value, a rare few have sold for shocking amounts due to their rarity, condition, and appeal. Imagine the thrill of realizing that the coin you once thought was just ordinary has become something truly extraordinary. That's the magic of numismatics. One such rare 2017 Frederick Douglas Washington quarter, due to its nearly flawless condition and unique characteristics, was valued at an incredible $36,000. Top 3. Imagine walking through your house, checking between couch cushions, or digging through an old drawer, and finding a coin that looks like any other. It's a 1967 Washington quarter, just 25 cents in face value. But what if I told you that this simple-looking coin, depending on its specific characteristics, could be worth more than most luxury cars? Yes, you heard right. Among the millions of Washington quarters minted that year, there are rare examples that have sold for as much as $155,000. What makes this coin so valuable? Let's explore the rich history, intricate details, and hidden treasure behind the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now. The Washington quarter has a fascinating legacy. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, this quarter became a permanent part of U.S. coinage due to its popularity. The design features Washington's classic profile on the obverse, sculpted by John Flanagan, and this remained mostly unchanged for decades. But the 1967 issue holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Why? Because this was no ordinary year in the world of American coinage. The mid-1960s was a transitional period for U.S. currency. Following a coin shortage and rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint made a bold move. In 1965, it stopped using silver in quarters altogether, shifting instead to a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. The 1967 quarter, then, was among the earliest full production years of these new clad coins. Millions were minted, yes, but the U.S. Mint did something very unusual that year. It did not include any mint marks on coins. This was done in an attempt to discourage coin hoarding, a growing trend among Americans at the time. So, if you find a 1967 quarter without a mint mark, that's not an error, that was intentional. However, despite the high mintage, certain 1967 quarters are exceptionally valuable due to rarity, condition, and minting errors. These aren't your everyday quarters found in change. These are pristine examples, often never circulated, stored in original mint sets or preserved carefully for decades. Others became valuable due to striking anomalies, errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or coins mistakenly struck on the wrong planchet. Each of these errors can significantly boost a coin's worth, turning it from a common collectible into a six-figure treasure. Let's talk about grading, a key factor in determining a coin's value. Collectors and dealers use a scale from 1 to 70 to grade coins, with 70 being a perfect, flawless specimen. Coins graded MS-67 and above, mint state, with no signs of wear and nearly perfect condition, are especially sought after. Finding a 1967 Washington quarter in such pristine shape is rare, which is why collectors are willing to pay a premium. And then there's the magic of minting errors. Imagine a coin struck twice, or slightly off-center, or bearing unusual surface marks that weren't part of the original design. These errors are often one of a kind. A double die error, for instance, where the design appears slightly doubled, can send the value of a coin soaring. Combine this with high grade and good eye appeal, and you have a recipe for a serious collector's prize. But why is the 1967 quarter still being hunted today, decades after it was minted? The reason lies in the mystery. So many were made, yet only a tiny handful are in perfect condition. Some were minted using special dyes, others with unexpected flaws. And most people who receive them in change have no idea that what they hold could be worth thousands, or even more. It's this possibility, the thrill of the unknown, that keeps coin hunters, numismatists, and casual hobbyists alike searching every roll, every jar, every dusty box of coins. There's also something deeply personal about collecting coins like the 1967 Washington quarter. It's not just about monetary value. It's about holding a piece of time in your hand, connecting to the story of America during a turbulent era, the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and cultural revolutions. This coin traveled through time, possibly through the hands of thousands, and still endures today as a tangible link to the past. In the world of rare coin collecting, condition, rarity, historical context, and era make all the difference. And this is precisely what makes the 1967 Washington quarter so fascinating. While millions exist, only a few have been discovered in exceptional condition with unique minting features. One such example, due to its remarkable state of preservation and an extremely rare error, fetched an astounding price of $155,000. Yes, $155,000 in words, for a single $quarter coin. So next time you come across a 1967 Washington quarter, don't just toss it into your change jar. Take a closer look. You might be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined, a rare treasure hiding in plain sight. Top 4. In the world of coin collecting, there are few things more exciting than discovering a hidden gem among your everyday change. And when it comes to the Washington quarter, one particular year stands out for collectors and enthusiasts alike: the year 1970. At first glance, the 1970 Washington quarter might look like any other worn-down piece of pocket change, but this coin holds a fascinating story and, in some rare cases, an astonishing value that has turned heads at auctions and among numismatists. What seems like just another piece of metal could actually be worth a small fortune. And yes, we mean that quite literally. Let's rewind and look at the historical backdrop. The Washington quarter series began in 1932, designed by John Flanagan, and it was intended to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was so well received that it quickly became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. Fast forward to 1970. This was a time of great change in America. From the aftermath of the civil rights movement to the intensifying Vietnam War, it was a decade of unrest and transformation. And through it all, U.S. mint operations continued, churning out millions of coins for circulation, including the humble 1970 quarter. Now, unlike earlier Washington quarters which were composed of 90% silver, the 1970 version came with the copper-nickel-clad composition that had been introduced in the mid-1960s. Silver had been phased out due to rising costs, and by 1970, it was officially a thing of the past for regular issue quarters. The 1970 quarter was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but a limited number of special collector coins were also made at the San Francisco Mint. These were proof coins, mirror-like, highly detailed coins not meant for circulation. And here's where the mystery deepens. Among those specially struck proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, a few were struck over Canadian quarters. Yes, you read that correctly. A small number of 1970s proof quarters were accidentally struck on 1941 Canadian quarters that had somehow made their way into the minting process. These dramatic errors are not only rare, they're nearly unheard of. The fact that these mistake coins even exist is remarkable, and collectors will pay a premium to own such an oddity. Even outside of those spectacular minting blunders, the 1970 Washington quarter remains a coin of interest for collectors. Why? Because condition matters a lot. While millions were minted, very few survived in pristine, untouched state. A 1970 quarter pulled fresh from a mint set and kept perfectly preserved for over 50 years might be graded at MS 67 or higher, a rating that indicates near perfection. Coins of that quality are rare, and when they appear at auction, the bids can skyrocket. Another factor that boosts the quarter's value is the presence of striking errors. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. Double die obverse, DDO coins, in particular, show a slight but visible doubling of the design, often in the lettering or date, caused by a misalignment during the striking process. These errors make the coin unique and massively increase its worth, And let's not forget eye appeal. Collectors are drawn to coins that not only grade well but also look beautiful. A quarter from 1970 with a brilliant luster, sharp strike, and flawless surfaces can mesmerize collectors and increase competition during auctions. Some of these quarters, especially if they contain an unusual error or are graded above MS-67, are known to bring in staggering prices. Why is the 1970 quarter still such a hot topic today? Because it represents that wonderful blend of historical context, rarity, error intrigue, and the ever-thrilling possibility that one of these coins might just be sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, a drawer, or a roll of quarters waiting to be unwrapped. Coin roll hunters and numismatists know that these treasures often hide in plain sight, and the hope of finding one keeps the search alive. It's amazing to think that a piece of metal, just 1 inch in diameter, could carry so much value and interest. This humble 25-cent piece, minted during a time of immense change, has become a symbol of hidden value. So the next time you receive a quarter in your change, don't overlook it. Examine the date. Look for the signs. Is there an error? Does it shine more brilliantly than others? Does it seem off somehow? Because you might just be holding a piece of American history that collectors would fight to own. And now, here's the jaw-dropping detail. A 1970 Washington quarter, in a rare proof error variety struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, sold for an astonishing total of $130,000. That's right, $130,000 in words. For a coin with a face value of just 25 cents. This is not just currency, it's a time capsule, a collectible, and for the lucky few who find one, a small fortune. Top 5. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that seems ordinary, a simple piece of metal worth just 25 cents. You've seen hundreds, maybe thousands of them pass through your wallet, your pocket, your hands. But what if one of those quarters could be worth a fortune? What if that small, seemingly insignificant coin had a secret, a hidden detail that transformed its value beyond imagination? Today, we dive deep into one such coin, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1972. It's more than a coin. It's a hidden treasure, a symbol of history, and in the right condition, a ticket to life-changing money. The Washington quarter has long been a staple of American currency. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of the nation's first president, this coin has graced pockets and cash registers for decades. But not all quarters are created equal. Some years, some mint marks, and some rare errors combine to create truly unique and valuable coins. The 1972 Washington quarter is one of those extraordinary examples, a coin that holds stories, secrets, and surprises. Let's talk about the year 1972 for a moment. It was a fascinating time in American history. The country was still deeply entrenched in the Vietnam War. The Watergate scandal was beginning to unfold, and American culture was shifting rapidly. Amidst this turmoil, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions of quarters at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia quarters bore no mint mark, while Denver used the D mint mark and San Francisco primarily focused on proof coins for collectors. While these quarters might have all looked the same at first glance, certain rare versions struck in this year have gone on to become immensely valuable. One of the things that makes a coin from 1972 so special is not just its age, but the possibility of rare minting errors. These aren't just mistakes, they're marvels of misfortune that collectors crave. A double die obverse, for example, occurs when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a doubled image, especially noticeable in the words, "Liberty," or "In God We Trust." These errors are rare, and when they occur on a well-preserved 1972 quarter, their value skyrockets. Then there's the condition of the coin. Grading plays a massive role in the coin's worth. A 1972 quarter in poor condition might still only be worth its face value, 25 cents. But when you come across a coin that has been preserved in mint state condition, without wear, with strong detail and original luster, that's when you're in collector goldmine territory. These coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything above MS-65 is considered highly collectible. An MS-67 or MS-68 graded 1972 quarter is incredibly scarce, and when combined with a unique error, it becomes a legend. Let's not forget about the mint mark. Certain mint locations have more desirable production years than others. For instance, quarters struck at the San Francisco Mint often come in proof versions, highly detailed coins made for collectors. While not meant for circulation, sometimes these proof coins end up out in the world. If you were to stumble upon a proof coin in your spare change, especially one from 1972 with a rare error, you could be holding something incredibly valuable. Collectors are always searching for what's known as off-metal strikes as well, quarters that were accidentally struck on blanks meant for other coins, like pennies or nickels. These mistakes are rare, but verified examples have fetched extraordinary prices at auctions. Other desirable errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins with missing or doubled letters. Each mistake makes the coin more unique, more rare, and more valuable. What's perhaps most fascinating about the 1972 Washington quarter is the mystery. Unlike other years with known major varieties or well-documented errors, the 1972 quarter flies a bit under the radar. That adds an extra thrill to the hunt. Collectors know there are still secrets buried in rolls of coins, jars of change, and forgotten drawers. It could be sitting in a junk drawer in your house or waiting in a coin roll at the bank. Every search becomes a potential discovery. Every 1972 quarter you pick up becomes a question: is this the one? And that's the true magic of coin collecting, the idea that something overlooked by millions can become a piece of rare American history. The idea that what seems common might, in fact, be exceptional. That the worn quarter jingling in your pocket might be worth more than you ever imagined. That's the heartbeat of numismatics, finding greatness where others see nothing special. So if you have a 1972 Washington quarter, take a closer look. Check its condition. Check for errors. Look for doubling. Examine the rim. If you're not sure, consider getting it professionally graded. Because hidden in those tiny design details could be a windfall. One such 1972 Washington quarter, due to its pristine condition and incredibly rare error, was sold to a collector for the unbelievable amount of $122,000. Yes, $122,000 in words. That's the kind of money that changes lives, that transforms a simple piece of American currency into a legacy. So next time you're handed a quarter, don't dismiss it. Flip it over. Look closely. You just might be holding history, and perhaps a hidden fortune.